Let's take it out now to DeKalb County. Savannah Levins is there at North Lake Mall. Savannah, power crews there already?
Yes, they are. And you know, it feels like the atmosphere has really changed, I think, both literally and figuratively. You can probably see right now that very cold rain is coming down, and we've got these power and tree crews behind me. This is just one of many locations all across the metro area where these crews are standing by. I just spoke with one of the workers, and he said they are just waiting on the word to go ahead and hit the road and respond to downed trees, any issues with power lines. I actually just saw the first truck out to what seemed to be perhaps their first assignment. Probably a couple dozen vehicles here right now. And if you're wondering if all of these vehicles belong to Tucker, Georgia, no, the answer is no. We heard from Jima earlier that these crews were being called in not only from Georgia, particularly South Georgia moving up this way, but even Florida. So lots of different areas of the state and even other states coming on up to help us here. So again, as I mentioned, the temperature is definitely dipping right now. I have this little infrared thermometer. We're definitely wanting to keep an eye on the temperatures of the ground. So let's see where we're at right now. If you can see that, looks like the ground's about 41 degrees. So not far off from where we are outside. But as Chris Holcomb mentioned earlier, those temperatures outside are dipping quickly now that the sun is down. Guys, I'll send it back to you.
Yeah, hood up, Savannah.
Yeah.
That takes it to a whole nother level. Hey, quick question for you. I was thinking about the fact, you know, in hurricanes, you see response from kind of around the region.
Yeah.
And you're talking about other parts of Georgia, but this system is impacting so many states. We've got crews in many states having to kind of deal with this. I wonder how much of a challenge that might be for the overall response, Savannah.
You know, I think that's a really good point, Cheryl. I've covered previous storms where we were getting help from other states like, you know, Texas, Tennessee, and hundreds of trucks coming from those states. The fact that we can only really call on Florida, to be honest, right now is definitely not typical, and definitely South Georgia, where they were in place there for a while. But as of this morning, we were told they were kind of called up to come to the metro area and more north of that. It's also an issue of, you know, items like food, water, blankets. Where do those go? As of this afternoon, those were also making their way kind of up north of Atlanta. But they also have, you know, helicopters, things like that standing by. We heard earlier that there were 500 National Guards standing by, ready to be deployed in Georgia specifically. As of this afternoon, Governor Kemp called in 120 of those to go ahead and deploy. So we know that thankfully we knew all of this was coming in many ways. And so there have been preparations made, although certainly to your point, Cheryl, probably not as many accessible as in past years or past storms just because of the wide impact of this weather system.
You were mentioning the 500 National Guard members. You know, when you tick down some of the facts about the manpower and how much effort it's taking, even in the preparation, and then we're going to have phase 2 of the response. At one point, I heard you talking about the number of miles that crews have had to cover in our state, and it gives you the idea how massive this kind of preparation has been. Can you talk us through those numbers?
Yeah, so 10,000 crew members from across Georgia and Florida, like I mentioned, have come up to help do that, and 1,800 of those on the roads helping do that brining. So that started midnight last night. Up to now, they have been kind of pre-treating and brining the roads, 18,000 miles. They're pretty much doing metro Atlanta and north all the way to South Carolina, all the way to Tennessee, doing that pre-treatment. But as of 6 p.m., which was not too long ago, they broke out the big guns, right? They had those big plows, 300 of them, big plows doing that really heavy duty salt mixture. So those are going out as we speak. And again, these crews behind me, these power and tree crews, they've really just been kind of sitting and waiting all day. But it does seem like I mentioned in the beginning of when I came to you that the atmosphere has changed and people are moving now and getting ready for a long night.
It really helps to have mutual aid. You had mentioned the fact that you have crews coming up from Florida, different parts of the region. That mutual aid makes all the difference. So knowing that we're not alone in this fight against this winter storm.
No bet.